back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today's video is going to be the results of my budget for the week of September 15th. So this is the third paycheck in the month of September. I wrote out this budget last week and did a whole video on it where I broke down where I planned for my money to go. This video is now going to be a look at where my money actually went. It's one thing to make a plan, it's another thing to stick to it. So we're going to look through all of my transactions this week and see how closely I stuck to my budget. So I have in front of me everything I'm going to need. My budget by paycheck workbook from The Budget Mom, which I own the printable version. I just print the pages that I need and punch them and use a Happy Planner disc binding system to bind them together. So I have that here. I also have my deluxe monthly planner from Erin Condren where I keep track of all of my transactions on the calendar view, which I will flip to momentarily. I have my wallet here, which is just an Amazon wallet that has all of my cash envelopes in it. I have my accordion folder off to the side that has my sinking funds in it. And I have the pens I'm going to use today, which are erasable pens from Parkoo. I have a black ink pen for if I am under budget, and the dreaded red pen for if I am over budget in any of my categories. I also have my phone here to act as my calculator. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Take a look at my spending for the week. So we're going to start out under this bills category with groceries. And if we open up my deluxe monthly planner here, we can see I have a little key here. I do all of my transaction tracking in a color coding system. And if we look on my key here, this pink color is groceries. So we are looking at the week of September 15th. So any transactions that fall between the 15th and the 21st is what we are tracking for the week. Because we budget payday to payday, my husband gets paid every Tuesday, so my week for budgeting starts on a Tuesday, ends on Monday. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to up the brightness on my phone here so y'all can see what I'm doing. And I have my trusty calculator here, and we're just going to add up any transactions. So this is actually really easy. I don't even need my calculator for this because we just had one grocery transaction for a total of $125.63, which is under my $150 budget. So I get to write in black ink for that, $125.63. And after I have written the transactions in, I always just go ahead and check them off so that I know I tracked them. Next up, we have household expenses. I budgeted $25 for household expenses, and if we look on my key here, we can see household is in this bright green color down here. We had, again, just one transaction for household expenses this week, and I spent $5.79. Didn't need a lot of household items this week, so that's good. Takes care of that. Next, we have just my bills for the week. So we have Boost Mobile, and I budgeted $130 for that. As you can see here under this blue color, which is what I keep my bills in, Boost did come out, and it was exactly $130, so that was as budgeted. Next we have State Farm, which is a debt payment. It's a minimum payment on my State Farm Visa card. If we look at my key here, debt is in this dark gray, so we will just find that dark gray sticker, State Farm. It's checked off, so you can see it did come out, and it was indeed $25. So that was as budgeted as well. Amazon is also a minimum payment on a credit card. I budgeted $125 for that. That did come out on Thursday the 18th. As you can see, I've checked it off, which means it came out of my account. But the amount on that was actually $120, so just a little bit under what I had budgeted, which is good. Lastly, for the bills category, we have my camper payment, which I budgeted $200 for. And as you can see here, that came out and it was exactly $200. So lots of black ink under the bills category, which is good. I can already tell you there's going to be some red ink this week in other areas of my budget, but for now we are on budget, so I'm going to go ahead and add up the actual totals here. So we have $125.63 plus $579 plus $130 plus $25 plus $120 plus $200 is $606.42. Which means that for this bills category, as you can see here, I am under budget by $48.58, which is awesome. We will talk about what I'm going to do with this leftover money a little bit later. For now, we're going to skip ahead to my cash envelopes. This is where all of the red ink is going to come in. First up, we have Austin. I budgeted $20 to give to Austin. He is my 12-year-old son. I did indeed give him that $20. That was as budgeted. Next, we have my husband's spending money. That's something that I give him at the start of every week. I don't track it because he keeps track of his own spending. I just give him his $40 and he spends it on whatever he wants. So I did indeed give him that $40, so that was as budgeted. Next, we have my personal spending. I budgeted $40. If we look on my key here, you can see that my personal spending is in this dark purple color. But this week I actually did not have a single transaction in this dark purple. I didn't spend any of my spending money. So I should have that full $40 left in my wallet. So we're gonna go ahead and open up my wallet, and my wallet is a mess. I've got stuff absolutely everywhere. But in my spending envelope, I do indeed still have that $40, which is good because I'm going to need to make up some spending in some other categories. So for now, I'm going to take this $40 and set it off to the side, and we'll come back to that as we progress through my budget here. Let me zoom you guys out just a touch. Okay. So that means I spent $0. So for miscellaneous, I budgeted $50. Miscellaneous on my little card here is this lighter green color. Once again, I don't have any miscellaneous spending this week. So I, in theory, should have $50 left in my miscellaneous envelope as well. So again, we'll go into my wallet here, look under my miscellaneous category, and behold, I do have $50 left. So because I did not do any spending in my personal spending or my miscellaneous categories, I'm still going to be under budget overall, but I did overspend in both gas and eating out. So that's where this red pen is going to come in. So for gas, I budgeted $40. And if you look here on my little key, gas is in this light purple color. I had a couple of transactions that I classified as gas spending here. So I filled up my gas tank of my Subaru for $29, and then I also took my Subaru for a car wash, which was $14. If we add up 29 and 14, that's a total of $43. But I only budgeted $40. Now, I do have a sinking fund here that has extra gas money in it that I could go into to make up that difference. It's only $3, and because I didn't do any of my any spending in my personal money or my miscellaneous money, I have more than enough to make up for it. So I'm just going to take the loss, write in the ink, and say that I spent $43, which is not bad, you guys. I know that $3 over budget in a category is not the end of the world, especially when I'm so far under in these other categories. I just hate having to use the red ink. I prefer to be under budget in all of my categories. So that's a bummer. A little bit over budget in that area, but I'm also over budget in my eating out by quite a bit. So I budgeted $30 for eating out, and if we look at my little key here, again, eating out is in this yellow color. Focus camera. There we go. And if we look at my week here, I've got quite a few yellow stickers. So we're going to, first I'm going to mark off that I tracked my gas spending here. So I spent $15.88 at Arby's on Friday and $28.22 at McDonald's. We had Austin's friend with us. We went camping, and we had an extra mouth to feed, and we just weren't paying attention to what we were spending. So already we are over budget with $44.11. But we also went to Tim Hortons on Sunday on our way home from camping and spent $6.08. So we spent $50.18, and our budget was only $30. So we definitely were pretty far over in that regard. So yeah, I think we're definitely still going to be under budget in total, but we definitely spent more than we should have in both gas and eating out, which, again, you know, you're not always going to be perfect with your budget. I'm certainly not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I would have liked to come in under budget in these categories, but since I am still under budget overall, I'm not beating myself up too much for this. So we're going to add up all these totals. So 20 plus 40 plus 43 plus 50, 18 is 153.18, which is still quite a bit under budget. Luckily, I did not spend in some of these other categories. That being said, I do have a unbudgeted expense this week. I don't know if you guys can see that. Here on my key, anything that is unbudgeted is in this pink color, and I do have $166.03 that I spent on Stitch Fix. If you watched my Stitch Fix unboxing video, you will know that I chose to keep all of my items that I received in my Stitch Fix box. I absolutely loved everything. And so with tax and everything, that ended up being a total of $166.03. I took that out of my checking account cushion because I had built my checking account cushion up quite a bit. If you're not familiar with my channel, you may not know, but I keep quite a bit of wiggle room in my checking account. So I have a couple $100s that I keep in my checking account as insurance, essentially. If I go way over budget in a category, I want to be able to cover that with my checking account. I don't want to have to swipe a credit card. And so I had built my checking account cushion up even more than usual. So I had like quite a bit of extra money in my checking account that was just sitting there as sort of a buffer. So I decided to, rather than use my credit card to pay for the Stitch Fix box or, you know, take it out of a sinking fund or whatever, I would just go ahead and use my checking account cushion for that transaction. So it's covered. It was still totally covered within my budget, but it was not something that I planned ahead for or budgeted for. I didn't anticipate loving all of the items in my Stitch Fix box. I expected I would just get one or two. So I did use my checking account for that. And so that is an unbudgeted expense, something I did not necessarily plan to do. Again, it's covered. I'm not, you know, breaking the bank to do it, but it just wasn't in my initial plan. So therefore, I did put that in as unbudgeted, which sort of goes with why I didn't spend my spending money this week. I anticipated using my spending money for the one or two items from my Stitch Fix box and just ended up using my cushion for that. So realistically, I'm under budget by a lot this week, despite my little oopsies with the red pen here. But that is why. So really, we're kind of breaking even here. All right, so before we talk about what we're gonna do with this leftover money here, I'm going to really quickly go down the list on the right side of my planner here. This is all as planned and as budgeted. So I intended to put $100 towards my campground fund, and I did. I also intended to put $50 toward my hunting fund, and I did. So that was as planned. I did indeed send $150 to the lowest credit card on our list, which is our State Farm Visa card. So that $150 snowball payment that I intended to make, I did make. And now we can talk about this extra payment. So you can see here, I wrote in a little line item for an extra debt payment. I didn't budget anything for it, but I put it in here so that if I had anything left over from my budget as a whole here, I could send it to that credit card. So this amount here, this $48.58 that I had left over from my bills category, I'm actually going to transfer over to this extra debt and make an extra debt payment of this $48.58, which means then that in extra debt payments this week, I did send the $150, and as soon as I am done filming this video, I'm going to send that extra $48.58 to that card as well for a total of $198.58 in extra debt payments this week. Technically, this $198.58 is over this $150, but because this money is coming from here, I'm not really over budget, and I never ever am going to write an extra debt payment in red because it's not a bad thing. This red is like a bad color. I see this and I, know that I did something bad with my budget. Paying extra to debt is not bad, so that does not get written in red. All right, so now what are we going to do with this extra money from our cash envelopes? Well, we got quite a bit left over. We had $220, we only spent $153.18, so that's $66.82. Because I was over budget in these couple of categories, I did have to use my debit card for them, and so I'm going to put some of this cash back in the bank to cover those transactions. So let's see here. 43 plus 50.18 minus 40 minus 30. So $23.18 of this cash is going to go back into the bank. This, we'll probably round it up and we'll just do $24. So that means then I have $20, $40, $60, $80, $90 here. We're going to take $24 and stick it back in the bank. So $66 is going to go into my sinking fund for my campground. As of late, anytime that I have had extra cash from my cash envelopes, I've been putting it to my campground sinking fund because I'm a little bit short on that fund. My campground payment is due at the end of October, and I'm still a little bit short on that fund, so all of my extra cash lately has been going to that. So I'm going to go into my sinking funds here. I'm going to make some change so that I can put the various amounts where they go. So I've taken 10 ones out of one of my sinking funds, and I'm just going to put this 10 back into that fund. So that was an even trade, just so that I could get the denominations that I needed. So we said $24 was going to go into the bank to cover this extra spending. So this $24 then is going to go into my cash envelope wallet here. At the back of my wallet, I have a little to bank envelope where I put anything that I need to deposit into the bank. So this money is going to go in there, along with some other cash that I need to deposit. And that should mean then that I have $66 left. So 20, 40, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, $66 is then going to go into my campground funds. So my campground fund is currently sitting at $1,081. Today is the 21st. We're adding $66 today. 1081 plus 66, which I just did on my little calculator here because I'm terrible at mental math, is 1147. I'm going to slip the denominations in here where they go. And then anytime that I add money to a sinking fund, I always count it up just to make sure I have what I think I'm supposed to have. So we're going to count this and make sure that I have this 1147. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 50, 600, 50, 700, 50, 800, 50, 900, 20, 40, 60, 80, 1,000, 20, 40, 60, 80, 1,100, 10, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. $1,147 as anticipated. I need to have $1,350 by the end of October, so still got a little bit to go. So we're going to continue to add anything extra that I wind up with at the end of my weekly budget into this fund. For now, I'm going to put this fund back behind the campground tab in my accordion folder where I keep my sinking funds. And that is going to do it for my budget this week, my budget results. So definitely a little dicey here with the red pen. I need to be better about making sure I'm sticking to my budgeted items. And then, of course, there was that transaction that I didn't plan for, which, again, I'm fine with. That Stitch Fix box, that was something that, I made the decision to go ahead and spend that extra money because I had it. I'm not kicking myself for that by any stretch of the imagination, but I would prefer in the future to plan ahead for that and not just kind of fly by the seat of my pants and make that decision. So overall, I'm happy with everything. I'm glad it all worked out the way that it did. Just had to finagle things a little bit. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Also, make sure that you subscribe if you have not done that yet. I'd love to have you come back and check out my other budgeting content, as well as my other lifestyle type videos. Thank you guys so much, as always, for your support, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.